What is happening? What? This is exactly... I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. That's what we're looking at. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Sunday night, viewer game night. We have a lot on deck. Let's get into it. masterdarksh, Sivadas, everybody else, welcome. Hope everybody's weekend went well. Or if you're living in the future, that the beginning of your week is starting well. Because, yeah, it's about that time. It's about that time. We're going to be jumping into another regular week. Wrong category in game and mindset, hunt time. Maybe. I haven't played Hunt since the last time I played it on stream. And I actually never got to use the self-res necro. I didn't get to use it. Mostly because I forgot about it, and then we were streaming the one time, and I could have done it then, and then just never enabled it. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. We're going to jump in pretty quick. We're going to start out with Sivadas game here on Phobos. Of course, we got to get the subscriber games out early. Subscribers to what? The Twitch stream. What's the Twitch stream? Link for that in the Discord, or of course in the description. That's where you go to submit your games if you want to get them here up in lights. But we're jumping in here. Let's see what Sivadas has in store for us. Highlight, last turn is a brony play, and the opponent surrenders after. Snowball helps me cut off the chance for retreat. GG. All right. Well, let's see what we have in store. Phobos, oof. Phobos is weird. Phobos is definitely a weird map because it's oft maligned. I kind of can't stand it either. But at the same time, you still see a lot of people winning going second. So is the map actually bad? Is it imbalanced? Is there a problem with it? I don't know. It might just be fine. It may just be initial bad impressions kind of thing. Now, as we've talked about before, I can absolutely understand if someone just doesn't like the play pattern for any given map, and that's fine. That's just a preference thing. But that isn't necessarily a good reason to remove it from the pool or completely rework it or anything. We were talking yesterday about the idea of a map thumbs down system to deter certain things for lower the chance of you playing certain maps in a given rotation. There's good and bad to it. All of that kind of just to fill the beginning of the game because there wasn't a whole lot going on, nothing notably exciting. I mean, we do have a Finnegan here, but Finnegan is actually gaining a lot of stock on this map. It's gaining a lot of stock on this map. So, bad guy here has gone Ray Chargels, presumably to counter the Innoculus. This is a level 11 Innoculus versus a level 18 Ray. So, yeah. That'll one-shot it. That will, in fact, one-shot it. Throat's a little dry, chat. I don't know why, but I'm super tired tonight. Super tired tonight, more so than usual. We're getting what was assumed to be the auto first player advantage here, and obviously bad guys in position to claim this stim at any given point. Not necessarily to hold it, but if our hero here tries to do anything cute, it's very easy for bad guy to just go, oops, wipe your board. Now, we do get an interesting play here in the north from Sivadas, blocking this off, trying to focus the energies here, which makes sense. This way, it prevents your opponent from trying to stretch you in multiple locations. Chat saying Finnegan feels super super good on maps where the opponent has abyss tiles behind where they want their phobies. It just provides such a big threat and a lot of zone control for only 2 keys. It's also very cute. Very true. Hey, Alan, welcome back. But yeah, Anton, you're absolutely right. I do like Finnegan. We've talked about Finnegan a lot as an honorary good boy. I think Finnegan has gone up, Slammerhead to a lesser degree, but absolutely Finnegan in a lot of people's books on this map in particular. There, I guess, on Exponential Decay, it's a little difficult to make it happen. Like, Rambolina is probably necessary as compared to here where Finnegan can get some value. Trying to think, what other maps is Finnegan really going to put in a ton of work? Offhand, I can't think of it, but in the meantime, we're getting a Gonzo. Level 19 Gonzo, by the way. 462 damage, I think, is more than some of my Phobies do. And when I say some of my Phobies, we're not talking ones I just got. Like, I think this is more damage than my Oopsie Baby. Baba Yaga is one of the answers. I don't hate this, honestly. I don't hate this, honestly, because you can... Given the level disparity here, right? Like, look at this. This is almost a 3k health Evo. This is a over 2,000 health, although barely. 2,000 health Jin Sting. This helps soften them up so that way you can actually get some eliminations plus AoE damage. So, I don't hate the idea. Finnegan is an emergency push in Xylo. Do you mean emergency push or emergency counter push? Because we've definitely seen Finnegan put to good use just getting popped out of spawn and then just destroying something. Very good boy, absolutely. Been rating Finnegan highly since my very first tier list. Fair. Oh boy, that's a novel, Atona. Give me a second. We're halfway through this game. We'll come back to some of the longer comments. ET, welcome. I remember on this map, I pushed a Barzilla into the abyss with Finnegan. That had to feel great. So we actually have a panic point advantage going for our hero, but obviously gonna trade out pretty quickly here. It's interesting because of that set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so our hero here banking up to 11. This frees them up in order to actually get another phobia on the board. So this makes sense. This makes sense. Now, unfortunately, that particular aggression does allow bad guy to flip the panic points the other way because they maintain their 1 key, can just cap this one safely. Clearly, this cowbell's going to die, although I want to see 1,000 health. Also, look at this. Look at this. This is gross. This is disgusting. This may be an early competitor for the thumbnail. Maybe I should instead use it where it's the meatball underpants, but I don't know. It's weird no matter what. A meatball disgust. Well, that one was. We get a Bachelor. We're just kind of building up forces here. Obviously going to be trading out some panic points. Bad guy finally breaks open the top. Now that's accessible to them. Sivadas has 15 keys banked. Bad guy has 10. No more to be gained for either player. This Baba Yaga's had a couple turns to cook. I imagine there's a trap here. Maybe one here. Like these 2 spots, possibly. They're obviously not on the panic points. A spicy meatball? Possibly. Possibly. This is a little weird. Why not just kill it with the Bachelor? Snipe on the Murder Wing? That's just a dead Murder Wing. 1,000 damage with this Crushmore. 1,000 damage. Okay, so there was a... This is how ridiculous this is. I mean, we've seen a lot of 1-drops tank. Also, Durap Bachelor. We've seen a lot of 1-drops tank traps, but this just feels obscene. I highly doubt there's enough damage to kill this, so this is an interesting play. It would kind of pull bad guy out of position a bit. And beauty is the follow-up. 7 keys remaining for our hero. Is this the answer they need? They're actually just getting the hell out of there with the Crushmore, which I can't really blame them, and the answer is Bluelian. Oof. Level 16 Bluelian. Whatever level that was. It's up there. It's a large Bluelian. Who ordered the large Bluelian and a liter of cola? Does Bluelian come with a free liter of cola? Is that what the healing spa is? Do we serve liter of cola? Brony. All right, so this was in the notes. We knew it was coming. It's finally made its appearance. That's the remaining keys. 500. Yeah, that's a big, thick, chunky heal. It should come with some cola. And now I want to skin a Bluelian just holding, like, a bunch of 2 liters in his arms. I think that would be really funny. But we get some brony action going on. I have to imagine, yeah, there's no way that even with a Gonzo buff, I don't think, Gonzo is up, but even with a Gonzo buff, these are the only 2 that can hit the brony. And because of the split here, bad guy's going to have to back off to, like, all the way in their corner in order to not get bronied. Right? Because a brony here is just going to reach, like, everything. It's still going to reach these. 1, 2, 3. It's going to hit these 2. It won't hit this. It won't hit this. It will hit this. It will hit this. It won't hit this. So not enough damage to kill the brony. This might not be worth... this might be worth going for. But instead, we're electing to go and lock off these top 4. I think I like that a lot better. Definitely makes sense given that these can't reach the brony. And you can just split their forces and divide them here. This is funny. Like, bad guy is... it drew the concession. This is the last turn of the game. It drew the concession that... I mean, you would have just obliterated their forces here, right? Actually, it would have taken a turn or 2 just because of how much HP each thing has. You know, like, I don't know that you wipe these out super quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, bad guy is maxed. This is pretty interesting. I do like this as a response to try and fight into these super high-leveled opponents. This was well played, Sivadas. Well done. GG. All right, subscriber game number 2. We got Urkevina here. Honey Bear on the once lore equals free win. Well, everybody's going to have to remember that one for the next time this map rolls back around, because this one did, in fact, come out. I actually was trying out this build. Now, I was being super abusive about it, I guess, personally, because I was also adding a little honey bear flavoring. Obviously, the honey bear. We're adding a little heartbreaker into the mix to go with the honey bear flavoring. And yeah, I imagine most people were not super excited about it. Now, the games did take 100 years, as you can see. We're at a 42-turn game. I like this map a lot more than the first time it was here. Yeah, they did modify it since they moved the vault and stuff so that you can't just immediately... But the problem is, I don't know that it changed the map materially, honestly. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Atona. I don't know how I feel about this map yet, truthfully, because while it changed some defensive options, well, one thing that it does change is that does it make the map more aggressive because you can do snowball right to the middle now? I don't know if it does. This is interesting by Urk, just walking up and hitting this. I mean, I guess it can't stay. Yeah, it has to hit twice, in which case it'll die, so that's fine. We're getting a little bit of a spread. It's interesting bad guy did not choose to go with Snowball, because that does seem to be a common opener for player 1. You can't really interact with your enemy on this map unless you have 3 rangers and yoinks. I mean, yeah, I think that is a factor in this map. I like this map more simply because I have more good displacement options and know how to use them better. I think those two comments go in hand to a large degree. I wonder if this map would feel good if the Abyss tiles were lava instead. Maybe. I started playing Minecraft on this map. What does that mean? Like Gravedigger and Crushmore? This map is great. Is it, though? I'm not saying it's bad yet. And Gargles? True. True. I'm not saying it's bad. But I don't know. I usually play Poison Ivy on this map. So I did lose my Heartbreaker to a Poison Ivy. But it was in async and I totally forgot. Like, you guys know the deal by now. I don't pay attention. Like, I just walked it right onto a trap and bam, it exploded. I think it might have lived through the trap, but with like 10 health or something, so it just died trivially. But yeah, I do like the Honey Bear game plan on this map, which kind of goes back to a discussion that we've talked about on many occasions. And we're watching the build-up here from Urk. That's why I'm not, like, calling out specific plays, because it's like, okay, we got Honey Bear. It's going to lock down this point. We're going to have a 3-to-1 panic point advantage. We're going to fight over the middle, and then just build up forces to sort of counter each other. You know, we're going to have dancing spiders. Ooh, we do get a smiley, though. That's a new wrinkle as a response. And there aren't too many mechanicals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phobies, though. Not too many mechanicals, but the jar here is an option, at least. But there was a discussion that I brought up on stream. This is going back a while, and then it kind of segued into the Phobies Discord about how I feel like any map where Honey Bear is a really powerful strategy, and it remains to be seen if the Once lore is a map where Honey Bear is really strong. It seems like it, but maybe people will figure stuff out over time, and it's not going to materialize. But any map where Honey Bear feels powerful feels like it's not a good map. Where it's an exceptionally frustrating and or boring map to play. So this is really interesting. Your Bluelian overheals the disease damage? 442? Huh. Huh. Lol. So, this smiley... Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Honey Bear is good on most maps. That may actually be true, Anton. That may actually be true, and it may be people just don't have the patience to play 40, 50, 60 turn games. And if that's true, I mean, this is part of the problem with general phobie strategies, in my opinion. We don't really know what's good or bad, and this is a conversation that comes up a lot as we're watching this smiley get annihilated. Well, actually, it lives, hilariously enough. We don't have enough people putting in enough time to really assess all the stuff in phobies. And try to determine... Because, for example, like, I'm saying that I think this stuff is... Or you could make the argument that... How do I put this? You can make the argument that this strategy is boring. Okay. That's fine, whether you feel that way or not. But is there an appropriate counter? We don't know because apparently enough people find it boring or enough people just don't like it or don't have Honey Bear or don't realize to use it or don't... Whatever. Long list of reasons. To then have enough people to hate it enough to figure out a way to beat it. And that's kind of the cycle we're trapped in as we're looking at 11 keys to 9 keys remaining here. Are you out of 1 keys at this point, Urk? Why the Cottontail? Because it's kind of early in the game. They're still going to have 1 keys, presumably, to put out here. I don't think you guys traded that much. Honey Bear counter is called Honey Bear. I mean, yes, but I think you guys know what I mean. And plus, there is first mover advantage to some of this, or all of this, where the heart is a clock on the game. So at some point, if you're just trading it back and forth, somebody's going to kill the other player first. To cap the South and not get killed, fair. So Bad Guy says, the hell with the 1 key trading war, we're going to go with Alligator. I don't know why they ran... I mean, I guess the Smiley was never going to reach, but whatever. Yeah, as far as general Honey Bear stuff goes, you just kill it and win. I mean, that's easier said than done. In this particular case, the only things that can hit... Like, what should Bad Guy have done here? If we're talking about general Honey Bear answers. Well, first of all, what can hit it? A 3-ranger, and they have to be here. So, Heartbreaker, it's an ultra rare. It's not a common thing for people to do. You can sometimes counter Honey Bear by using obstacles given the right maps. Yes, that's also an option. So they could have put an obstacle here, and it would have stopped this nonsense. And it turns off the whole game plan, because then you have to walk Honey Bear all the way up here and do it here. And it would be 1, 2, 3. No, you do it here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so they could be like here. 2, 3. Yep. So you could block it. You could hit it with a 3-ranger. The 3 rangers then are susceptible to spider, but then your spider gets their spider. You know. You can't even use Heartbreaker against Honey Bear, trading 8 for 4. Well, you have a spider to answer it. In one of my games, yes, I was doing Heartbreaker, Honey Bear. They answered with Heartbreaker. Heartbreakered my Heartbreaker. So I Heartbreaker their Heartbreaker. They spider my Heartbreaker, and then I spider their spider. It was a very long-winded way of saying I just came out on top, ultimately. On this map, you can cancel it out by just using obstacles. Yes. And that's why I wanted to point it out, take a moment of... But if it's the first time that you're going up against this, many players are going to just... Because I feel like a lot of players in Phobies, there's just no... Because we've talked about the ladder rewards and stuff before. There's no real incentive to put in anything beyond minimum effort. Unless you just want to, which is a valid reason. You want to get better at Phobies. You want to play the best you can. You want to do whatever. Perfectly valid. But for a lot of people, it's like, well, I'm winning enough. I'm winning more than I'm losing. I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting my gold pack. I'm in Sum of All Fears or whatever your goal is. That's good enough for me. And for a lot of people, that's sufficient. And that's perfectly fine. But as a result, when you're then presented with something like this, you might just go, I have no idea what to do, and then not take the next step of, well, how do I deal with it? Because there isn't really... It's almost easier to just go, whatever, I'll go on to the next game and play a standard game next game and be done with it. Is that, I mean, to anybody who's a competitive person, that obviously sounds heinous. But let's be real. We're talking about a ladder system where there's nothing on the line. So I understand why people won't look for these things, or they'll wait for one of my videos where we're talking about answers to stuff. And in this case, that's why I wanted to call it out. Yeah, you can block it off. Then Urk has to find a way to either break the block or open it up or, you know, do something which forces the game state to evolve as compared to just sitting here. And at this point, 5850 to 5850, it's actually identical. But Bad Guy's out of keys. Urk still has 8 keys. Like, what is Bad Guy going to do at this stage? They're going to slowly hemorrhage all their stuff until they go, I don't have any more things to run in there. And they're going to make a really terrible push. Now, just for the record, this isn't to knock anybody who doesn't feel compelled to, well, Phobies is now my job. I'm going to put in a ton of effort into Phobies. Like, this happens in every game. Competitive games or otherwise. Feels good to shave. My chin is now Chomp's head. Got him. Got him. The stalling strategy allows you to bank so much, I always find myself with a lot of keys to answer with. Exactly, because the onus is on your opponent to do something. Once the honey bear is in position and you are puking on these points, it is your opponent's problem to make something happen. And on this map, because of the narrow choke in the middle, and then obviously the obstacles and then chokes around the corners, you have to come up with some unique ways to try and push, because you're not going to get a concave to jet onto something. Personally, I like figuring out ways to counter stuff or looking for new strategies in games like these. It's the reason I play them, but I can see that it's not the same for all people. Well, I think most people will say, yeah, that's the part I love, but at the end of the day, if you're playing Phobies just for the lulz, like I always put it, it's your pooping game, yeah, you might think of some strategies, and you will, if you're playing it and someone else does something cool, like Urk has done this to a bunch of people now. I promise you they're going to remember this. They're either then going to do it to someone else, or they're going to be concocting a way to stop it for the next time that it comes up. But, and again, this is why I said earlier, it's not to knock people who don't play games a certain way or aren't interested in certain things, because everybody has their own way of doing stuff. But, ultimately, could you have booped this into the pit over here? Like, if you went here, would it have pulled it here or here? If the spider was here. Probably would have pulled it here, and then you couldn't boop it, so never mind. But the point is that real life dictate, you know, it's a game. This is not anybody's job. So they're not going to, if you're tired after a day of work and you want to log in and just play some Phobies, you might default to your rote general strategy just because, hey, I just don't have the brain power at the moment to figure it out. Even if that is something you typically enjoy. It's part of the reason why, in general... By the way, I run out of time when he invades with Allie because I tried to boop it in the abyss, but it didn't work. Gotcha. I guess that answers my question then, Urk. On to saying, if you put Crushmore on a panic point, and then... So Crushmore was here, so you roll it to here. On the panic point, Murder Wing to the right side of Alligator. Can boop it to the abyss. What? I don't think there's any way you can boop it down here, because you'd have to do it this way, right? I don't know. We'll keep going. We'd have to go back and look at it, but... I forgot what the other point I was making, because we got sidetracked with this. Alright, we'll go back and look at that turn, because I am curious now. Because I feel like there was a way to boop it, but... Urk was saying that they tried everything, so... Blulian goes and snatches up this panic point that keeps getting turned off. Lol. Nice, Morbid. So my guess is there was a concession that came in at this point, because bad guy, like... There's still one key left for our hero. Panic point advantage, hero. Really not much else bad guy could have done in this state. It's probably a dead Klepto. Not a dead Klepto. I guess you couldn't kill it, but there was no way for bad guy to retaliate. Meaningfully, I guess. Alright, so let's take a look at this boop turn, because I want to see... Was this it? I think this was it. Okay, so hold on. Let's look at the... So, what were you saying, Onda? I want to look back. If you put Crushmore on the panic point, and Murder Wing on the right side of Alligator... So I don't know where the Crushmore comes into this equation. But I think you can boop it here. So you yoink to here. You get out of the way with the spider. You move Finnegan here, and then Murderwing goes here, and then you boop the gator. That should work. Moffat pull, Crushmore on the panic point, then Murderwing on the right side of gator. Oh, you're saying just send Crushmore to the panic point for the sake of it, I guess? I thought you were... When I first read your comment on it, I thought Crushmore had to be on the panic point for some reason to enable the boop. Does it have to be? Like, will Crushmore go up if... It would boop upwards? Okay. You have a better way? You can push Allie in 2 ways? Well, it sounds like my way doesn't work if you're saying it was my way, Hakunay. Wouldn't it just stop on Murderwing? Not technically. So the boops will have a vertical or a y-axis component if there are things impeding the movement. Like, they kind of slide off of each other. Oh, wait, opponent's Moffat? No, the only one way? Wait, what? Can't we just murder Allie? Do we need to throw this poor guy like a baseball? We're gonna throw him. Just get down there. Or yoink Klepto and boop it. Honestly, that was one of my first thoughts, but I feel like if Alligator was gonna go up, then Klepto's absolutely gonna go up, right? I think Klepto, if you boop it, ends up back in on the healing spa. So, moral of the story is, I think chat's confirming the Gator is boopable. It can end up in the abyss here. I mean, ultimately, this was a super advantageous position for our hero, so I don't think they were going to be in good shape no matter what there. Alright, so our hero this time on Phobopolis is Big She. Big She, test subject number 3. It's time for a big map. There's so much stuff to cover. If I want to play Mildred here, that's a challenge. And I'm a test subject for DT. I hate that. That frickin' goblin was the MVP. That's not fair. Alright, so we do have an intra-Discord game going down here. We got DT against Big She. And we're still on the Mildred train. We're still on the Mildred train. You're about to be embarrassed? We'll see. We'll see. So we do get the early Birkin Leapercarn. And what's funny is last night I played a game on this map on stream and Firkin to Mildred. But the irony here is Firkin's going to be on the side of Big She this time. The Mildred player. So what is interesting is both players did go for an early Gravedigger. I've been leaning more into Crushmore because you get double value out of it, but getting the early Terraforms is valuable. And in the meantime, we're filling out with other usual suspects, some One Keys, some Lobs, some Murderwings. Now to brutally destroy this entire box of mac and cheese. Is it special shapes, Luffy? It better be special shapes. Special shapes or send it back, Luffy. Usually go Snowball into Crushmore on this map. Yeah, that's usually how I go, Urk. But what is special? You don't know what special shapes mac and cheese is? It's just Kraft macaroni mac and cheese, but ones that are not just regular shaped macaronis. So they're like whatever special characters they're supposed to be. Because there's greater surface area for more of that, like, awful cancer cheese. Oh, I'm talking about, like, the ones where it's, like, dinosaur shapes, or, like, Disney characters, or other cartoon characters, stuff like that, Looney Tunes. But yeah, that cheese has to be bad for you. There's no world in which that cheese is good for you. Shells are peak cheese delivery. Maybe. I can see it. I can see it. We know. All right. Getting back to the game, we had to have a brief mac and cheese break because, I mean, mac and cheese deserves it. Sivadas, get out. That's like saying you don't like pizza. We went through that before. What do you hate most about fun foods? Why is it that you hate good food? So we get a Hevo 3.0 as the follow-up here. Obviously, DT was banking. We got a little bit of a bank from Big She, and I imagine we're going to see that bank pay off momentarily. Did the Firkin actually go off? Firkin hasn't been used yet. I mean, the only target really is these two. Got this nice concave bunker action going on. And we do get the Mildred, piloted, of course, by... what do we think the cat's name is, chap? The name of the cat that drives Mildred, the one with the goggles. What is that cat's name? I know we got a bunch of cat people. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know down in the comments what you think the cat's name is. Little Firkin on Firkin action here. Who's going to Firkin the Firkin? Is that even going to happen? Spider. All right, so right now Big She has a lot more active tools because DT is going to be forced, like, they have to go in to make something happen. Little tramples the cat with goggles. So we do get a block here. That's interesting. It does allow this double hit, which I like. The problem is I think this Mildred can now target the statue. Cat's name is Lil Chomp. Hevo 2.0. It's interesting that Hevo 1.0 and Hevo 3.0 have this, like, the way their eye looks as compared to Hevo 2.0 has these 3 dots. I'm a little surprised that there isn't a variation between these two. I would think the cat that piloted Mildred should have a grandma name. Yep, here's the splash. Only 300 goes down on here, but it does net a Gravedigger kill, and because DT chose to Firkin the Firkin, that means that both Firkins are offline for some time. I was totally planning on using abilities in the first place, so I didn't know how to respond to the preemptive Firkin. I'm honestly, after seeing it so many times, tempted to try it myself. Firkin is like a shield for Mildred if there's Goblin versus Goblin. I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, DT, since you're here, did you consider going Smiley against all of this? Oh no, is this dead? Oh no. Not like this. I looked away for a second. Oh no. The ever so sneaky Gravedigger break. The Mildred chip damage. That is actually, that's 500, over 500 damage a shot from that Firkin Leapercorn. Ouch. Get a little omp action for that. Ow, my phobies. I mean, that was probably the game right there. I mean, there's not many turns left, but I imagine, like, that's the game right there, right? Still 11 keys for DT, but that's a lot of tempo broken, and this is now live again. So that means this Hevo's dead. Should be. Probably. It's probably both of these are dead. I've lost a lot of 3.0s to similar. Maybe not, like, literally that play, but I've lost a lot of 3.0s. For Firk's sake. But yeah, DT, did you consider... I didn't get the question out. Did you consider Smiley as a response here. And then chose not to go with it, or... I'm curious just because like, that was the other answer people were screaming at me when I went up against Mildred the other night. Little Yeti action. Yeti's going to be the nail in the coffin in this one. I mean, Big She, obviously, you're submitting games where you're winning. I don't know how many games you're getting Mildred on the board and you're losing, but making Mildred look pretty decent. Earlier, I tried every possible boop of Big She position perfectly where nothing would move the way that helped me. Fair. Even get the Yeti freeze onto Firkin. That's actually kind of amusing. Maybe I use this as the thumbnail. Maybe this is the thumbnail. I never submitted a losing Rocket Man game, so clearly that's why I got nerfed back then. You know what's funny? Is I wonder if Rocket Man... I mean, Rocket Man seemed weird as a nerf at the time. I wonder if they should unnerf Rocket Man, in all seriousness. I don't remember the last time I saw Rocket Man. That hit literally all of them. Bonkers. I'm not spamming Mildred as it looks fair. Not when the meta's fire. The thing is, I don't think... How do I... trying to collate this thought quickly. Like, will the meta ever not contain fire? So, Snowball will always be there, right? You can pretty much use Snowball every single game and never feel bad, for the most part. Boss and Hevo 3.0, if you assume they get nerfed, but then there's Fire Ant also, there's just lava. I feel like Rocket Man does not need the nerf, but I don't know, maybe it does. If you gotta light your own phobia on fire just for it to still lose a turn, you got bigger problems. It depends, because if you have, say, Hevo 3.0 in range, you hit it twice, hit your Rocket Man, unfreeze it, it doesn't take any damage, and then you just walk away. If Hevo 3.0 got a nerf, what would it be? The HP? Based on what we've seen, it'll be damage and HP. It does not seem that the team is interested in doing changes, and this is only based on precedent, I don't have any information. It's based, they're only interested in doing changes to like HP or damage. Smiley crossed my mind. I used it effectively versus Mildred before, but knowing the skill level of my opponent, I didn't think it would work quickly enough here. That's fair. That's fair. But the fire to freeze thing is similar, but I get what Luffy's saying. It's not as... Or rather, it is more pronounced than, say, the poison versus healing stuff. Because you could walk back... Well, if you have to walk back to heal, it's effectively the same thing. Because you're still losing the turn of having to walk away. But if you can heal and then just continue, that is worse for the person who is poisoning than it is for the person who is freezing. How is Boss with 3.0 nerf worthy? What happened? Are we just going to always push the best end or most use Phobies constantly? I mean, that's why I'm hesitant about it. Several of the top players have been complaining about Boss in particular. Evo 3.0 is just another common complaint, but Boss is really the bigger one. It feels like Boss is a little overtuned. I don't really have, and I said this offline, I don't have a strong opinion about it because I almost never see Boss. And that's not because people aren't using it, it's just because the people I'm playing don't have it. So as a result, I don't really bother to put in the effort to formulate, well, what would I do if a boss shows up? Most of the time, it's like, well, I'm going to try and yoink it, or freeze it, or whatever, depending on the circumstances, and hope that it works. I don't know what my record against boss is. I would imagine pretty bad. Sasquatch is the only variation of another phobia that has a different range other than its variation, which also required them to make custom attack animation for it out of pocket, but pretty interesting. I mean, that is interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to contest it offhand because I can't think of any other cases, so that's probably true. You're not going to reach Gold Cup for this week? I didn't hit it either, Rhonda. Don't feel bad. There's always going to be a best phobie, kind of like there's always a best deck in a card game. There isn't always, and that's the thing. There isn't always. It is possible to make it so that, I mean, could boss always be the best generic thing? Yes, where it's, oh, I don't really know what to do. I'm just going to go boss, so it's fine. But I don't know. At least in card games, we see the stats. I would imagine, I mean, they're obviously, they've mentioned before publicly that they track all kinds of stats and they just kind of need to focus in on things. I'm sure they have the numbers for boss. Either they're in line and they're okay with it, or they're out of whack and they might just be waiting for, like, the 1-year anniversary to release a patch. I could see boss getting touched because, like, boss Gonzo, especially on a small map, doesn't feel like it's, or even just boss. I'm more focusing on the community. It seems like every 2 months the entire community jumps on a different phobie. Well, it is going to change, and it's been a while since people were really complaining. Like, Beauty was the last one, and Beauty dropped off the face of the earth for me after the first set of nerfs, let alone the second one. And yeah, people are always going to complain. Oh, people are still complaining about Stabby, but I think people have accepted that it is just a cornerstone piece. Like, that's how the game works, sort of thing. But by the same token, if people are always complaining about something, should it get changed? The answer is a resounding maybe. Because sometimes the community just needs to grow up and get good. Sometimes there's actually a problem. And that's why it doesn't really... We've gone back and forth on this discussion throughout a number of games. It's not just Phobies, because this is the same thing that always happens. Like, people are always going to complain. The answer is generally just get better and or get more stuff if you're just starting out or don't have a great collection or whatever. And then in other cases, it's, nah, maybe there is a problem, but I don't have the numbers for it. I know there are people at the top of the ladder, they were talking about it today, that there are people at the top of the ladder that are quote-unquote boss enjoyers, which is, you know, okay, well, if I had boss, I'd probably slam it every game and go, stop me. Like, why not? Sort of thing. And it, again, to me, it kind of comes down to... what incentive is there to come up with an answer right now? Like, there might be some level of prestige to be like, oh, well, I was the person who solved the boss problem. Obviously, complaining about it's easier. But there also is, like, how do you stop a 7, or what is it, 3, 4, 5, yeah, a 7 hex AoE that comes at range? Like, I don't know. I just got Microscopic. I want to try Gesundheit plus Mike for funsies, which unironically might be a decent strategy. 5 keys and a ton of damage. It's very fragile, though. Very glass cannon-y. And obviously probably only work on small maps. I'm forever hesitant to get back into Phobies because even though it's been like 7 months, I'm some of all fears. Are you logging in and opening your season packs? I wonder if like you didn't log in for a few months, would they build up and then you have to open like 3 or 4 season packs in a row? That'd be kind of funny. All right, chat, we're back. So I see the conversation shifted. So one more thing to add. Ironically enough, we're seeing a boss here. I am still of the opinion that there isn't really an incentive for people to, to, like, play Cutthroat. And by cutthroat, I don't mean being a dick. I mean playing cutthroat as in you are doing optimal strategies with the goal of trying to win with the most optimal strategy as efficiently and effectively as possible all the time. Because there isn't really a big incentive to win on ladder or climb ladder for any meaningful purpose, you might as well just simply play whatever. And if you happen to enjoy boss, you play boss. But if you don't feel like playing boss that day, then you don't do it. Now, there is an argument that, hey, that's fine, because then people aren't locked into trying to be a sweat lord all the time, because that is problematic in and of itself. But it's difficult for me to look at any given strategy, any given play pattern, and go, yeah, this is a problem. It needs to be fixed. When we don't have a lot of data or information to say, hey, I mean, yes, we're seeing a lot of top players win with boss a lot. Clearly, boss is good. Or insert whatever thing. But if there's no incentive to try and come up with an answer, it's kind of like, well, is anybody bothering? You know what I mean? I don't know. I would like to see, and that's why I'm hoping for tournaments like Fright Night, like Dios's event, like Jelly's events, like other stuff, to incentivize people to push these things to the forefront, because then if something's on the line, people are incentivized to both utilize that strategy, because everybody thinks that it's quote-unquote unbeatable, and find a way to answer that strategy, because proving that it is not unbeatable now has some sort of prize attached to it. You're assuming top players didn't try to find an answer for all those months? I don't know if they even care. In all seriousness. It's entirely possible that the top players can get to the top of the ladder with putting in such minimal effort that it isn't even necessary to try and come up with a counter strategy. And additionally, like I said, it's like how I've seen like maybe a dozen bosses played against me in like 6 months. And I play a lot of Phobies. So, first of all, we're talking about a problem that's only, as chat's pointing out, only impacting apparently like 15 to 20 people. Now, that isn't to say that this isn't a problem and shouldn't be solved, because eventually boss will show up in more people's collections and be a problem for everybody else. But here's the other part. It seems to go in cycles where now people are complaining about it. Eventually, those people will get bored of it, and then will they continue to play boss, or will it self-correct because they don't feel like playing boss anymore? Which isn't addressing the balance concern, if there is one. It's addressing just the existence of boss, thereby indirectly addressing the balance concern. I'm sure the players that are good at this game and wanted to come up with an answer to boss were trying to do things. And maybe the answer is there isn't a good answer right now. Or is the answer, who cares? Even they run into boss so infrequently that it doesn't matter. Or they're hitting Sum of All Fears 3 and it's like, oh, I lose to boss. Okay, but I beat everything else. Who cares? I legitimately don't know. I mean, I believe people, like Alien Engineer, I think was the one who pointed out today that they don't feel that there's a good answer to boss. I believe them. So I'm waiting to see how the devs feel, basically. Given that boss is an ultra rare, it's just, I don't know. I'm not joking when I feel like I've seen maybe a dozen bosses played against me in like 6 months. There is, it's called Graylien. I mean, but that's the problem. I'm confident that these players have Graylien and could address it, so I don't know. I've talked about this a lot. There aren't a lot of people that are putting in a lot of effort into Phobies to try and either create or solve the problems. So how much information are we going on? And that's kind of what it boils down to. Right now, to me, it feels like just get one Phobies, guys. It may take $200 in 2 years or never. Exactly. I mean, to me, it feels like boss is overtuned. Especially in light of what we've seen pattern-wise for other Phobies, namely beauty. But I readily admit I put zero effort into trying to solve the boss problem. Like, literally zero effort. So I guess I'll put it on YouTube and let YouTube decide. What do they think? So the last thing I'll add on the boss thing, I don't doubt the skill level of the players that are at the top of the ladder. I know we went through a long discussion last night about how ladder points don't matter. But the players at the top of the arena ladder, at least, I haven't paid attention to async at all, but speaking on the arena ladder, they're good players. They're great players. They are the best players in the game, however you want to put it. I've been a part of other games where all of the best players, and we're talking hundreds of the best players, all missed stuff for months or years. Or if we're talking shorter periods of time, a format leading into a particular event. It is entirely possible that there is an answer and no one has found it for reasons. And I'm saying that these players missed these problems and these solutions to things for a given format or structure or deck or strategy or whatever when there were tens of thousands of dollars on the line. There is nothing on the line in Phobies. There is no reason for anyone to give a shit about getting number one on the ladder other than EP points, right? And I'm making a joke out of this, but in all seriousness, like, what is there to do it other than because you want to? If someone said there's a chance for you to win a tournament for like $50,000, I imagine you're going to put more effort into that than trying to hit number one on the Phobies ladder, right? There's still people who miss things when there's big bucks on the line or big prizes on the line. That's why I'm not speaking in absolutes about is boss 100% a problem, 100% solved, it's 100% to me an open question. I'm leaning a certain way, personally, and I'm open to arguments going either way, but just from experience. Just from experience. Beauty was so good in Some of All Fears 3, people banked at the beginning just to rush Beauty. I mean, yeah, we watched that happen a lot. Just making sure I didn't miss any comments. Yeah, the other stuff was more economy stuff. We talk about that all the time, so we'll let it go for this once for me, or maybe we'll come back to it. So our hero here is Kratosss in the orange trunks on Carousel, I think. I don't remember. I think this map rotated out. Gravedigger's the meta on this map, beating him with his avatar phobie. Thank you, RT. Well, thank you, Kratosss, and thank you to everybody who submits games. If you want to get your own games, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, the link for that, and, of course, the live stream down in the description of this video. Carousel, yes, thank you. So, yeah, I do like Gravedigger on this map, to a degree. I'll be honest, every time I go Gravedigger, not every time, that's more broad than I meant. There are a lot of times I go Gravedigger, and it just feels like a wasted investment. Even on maps where it should be valuable, such as this. This is a dead snowball? I guess it is. This feels like it wasn't worth it. Does not seem worth it. Seems incorrect. So, Chad, I was actually thinking about buying a Jurassic Park. Ooh, okay. Triple panic point advantage here. Get the jar set up so that it can start poking away at things. Seems cute. So I was thinking about buying a Jurassic Park or other generic T-Rex toy and then painting it in the random slots colors. I don't know if I can get an appropriate green, though. I could probably get it in spray paint. And then I'll just have to, like, tape it. So I'll dye it or spray, you know, like, base coat it in black and then do green highlights. Honestly, stuff with Leap are pretty good on narrow maps like this because the surface area, it's basically a range phobia that frees up a space after attacking. I 100% agree, Urk. I really do like it. I have to find a cheaper one, Sivadas. So there was a 3D printed design that was like a somewhat cartoony looking articulated T-Rex. There's not really much to add here for the game. We're just watching repositioning for now. Max Phobies for bad guy, though. That I was going to either print myself, but my 3D printer's a pain in the neck. And it was like $8. So I was thinking about doing that and then trying to paint it. But then I was looking at, because I was looking at toys, I saw a bunch of Jurassic Park T-Rexes. And I'm like, wow, these look really cool. Except they're probably like $80, and I'm not doing that. Yeah, oof the jar. Kratosss is sacrificing some things unexpectedly here. Like things that didn't need to go. But ultimately, halfway through the game, 2 panic points in favor of bad guy. Kratosss' board position is kind of lacking, but they did bank to 5, and bad guy just maxed out. Right now, Kratosss losing? Yes. Switching gears to actually commentate the game now, because Kratosss, once they had this locked down, and they do now again, in a decent spot. Alright, here's where Noxious comes in. Your most hated phobie is... Why do you hate the crab? Like, of all the phobies in the game, you hate the crab? Why? I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that they hate that phobia as, like, that's their most hated. The bad guy has all of their 7 keys available. Kratosss only has 6 remaining, 3 available this turn. Clearly going to see this cowbell go down. Yep. Triple panic point once again. So this whole time, Kratosss has held a triple panic point advantage for a fair amount of the game. About half health for bad guy here. I hate that Noxious can target statues. It's got to be one of the most annoying things. Yeah, but it makes sense the way cowbell dies to Henrietta. Yeah, how often do you see that happen? I like to AFK for 6 turns, getting set up for that one push-pull-freeze turn. Fair. Alligator. What do you think, Chad? Do we assume bad guy does not have a... Like, look at this. Do we assume that bad guy does not have a healing phobia? Why else would you do this? Can they even kill this? They should be able to kill the Noxious, right? Because this will be like 1,400 health. But this will die... It's interesting that Kratosss decided to not go for bad guy 0 keys. Well, yeah, but they could have gone a healing phobia instead of alligator, is what I'm saying. Yeah, they have to have Clinico. I mean, Clinico isn't a great answer. I kind of get the alligator. But the way this map works, there's really just not what you want to do. I would have to uninstall after this because of how annoying this is. I mean, yeah. So they can kill the Noxious, but now they like this is going to die to the poison. If it comes after the Noxious, that also means that it's not going to live to cap a point because it'll die from the lava and the poison. Only Muffin or Bluelian? Yeah. I agree with you. Clinico's not going to be a great answer. Muffin or Bluelian are really the only ways out of this. Clustering around the heart like this, not great. Opponent's fault, not Noxious's fault. I'm not saying it's Noxious's fault. Low heart health and no panic points. I don't know. I don't know that alligator's what you want to do, although I'm trying to get into the headspace of bad guy here, so I guess the thought is alligator, if it gets poisoned, whatever, it'll walk it off. If it doesn't get poisoned, or even if it does, it can hypothetically just go stand on a panic point and not immediately die, aka stem the bleeding. Zamboni and Leshy could cure this easily. Well, I don't know about Leshy, but Zamboni has a one-turn warm-up. Opinion on removing the ability to use abilities on statues and hearts. That would change so many things. Which I know is the point, but, like, I'd have to actually think about that. I think it leads to a less interesting game overall. Opinion on removing a tractor? I mean, you know my opinion on that. Bad guy. Well, would this die? I guess this dies. If it shouldn't die if it's stayed. Well, maybe. 1,000, 15, 23. This would live if it stayed here. I feel like you gotta stay close. Tractor dies to boss? Fair. That's fair. It all comes full circle at this point. It comes full circle. I don't know. This game plan by bad guy, this is one of those games, and I will come back to the question Urk posed, but this feels like bad guy lost the game, and this is not to knock Kratosss in any way, because I think Kratosss saw an opportunity and seized it, but I feel as though bad guy lost this game more so than Kratosss won this game. Yeah, Onda has the succinct way that I'm thinking about Urk's question. We'll talk about it after the game. I mean, at this stage, what is bad guy going to do? They're down to 146 health. They're damned if they do. They're damned if they don't. Answer to a tractor's boss. Answer to boss is boss on a tractor. Fair. GG. Well done, Kratosss. I know we spent a lot of time talking about not Kratos's game, but for a while, Kratosss was just dominating. And like I said, I think this boiled down to bad guy not responding appropriately, allowing the Gravedigger to control the board multiple times. Kratosss didn't even break the other obstacles. Just blocked them out. I hate to see it. Not ice. Do we have a water phobie? I mean, we have several phobies that constitute, like, Jeeves, Octonauty. They're not literally water, but they are water-related, I guess. Water-adjacent. So, to answer Urk's question, the succinct way to address the idea of removing the option to hit statues with abilities is basically what Onda said. A lot of combos are gone. And I think that it allows for more interesting plays to be set up by allowing that to exist. And more offensive plays. So part of the thing that just about everybody complains about, when people complain about a lot of things, aside from boss, a lot of them are stagnation-driven things. They want the game to continually progress. Now, if it swung the other way, even slightly, people will complain about the other way. Don't get me wrong. But, like, when we started out talking about the Honey Bear thing, what's the issue with Honey Bear? It slows the game down and says, okay, you have to come to me. And most of the time, if you have to charge into your opponent's defenses, it ends poorly for you. I think preventing those sort of plays, like keying off the statue, that takes away an offensive ability where you can go in, drop a statue, a tractor off of it, go in, drop a statue, target it with whatever. Obviously, the devs felt that certain things like flying phobies shouldn't be able to interact with that stuff, so it isn't unheard of, but I don't know. Main problem for me is it basically adds range stuff like Hevo 2.0, Noxious Repeller, etc. Yeah, I think that's why it's beneficial, truthfully. I can understand not liking it, don't get me wrong. But I think it's beneficial to have it because it does allow for more offensive plays, and it allows for interesting plays to me. Whereas more things that players have to be aware of, they have to track and play with or around. Otherwise, we're reducing it. I don't think that it... I don't know that, because there is an argument in games and other stuff, obviously, where it's addition by subtraction. So picture card games. There are bans in card games sometimes because they're necessary. And it changes formats for the better. It opens up more viable deck options by removing a deck, a card, a strategy, whatever. That could be true in Phobies where, say, we eliminate the ability to hit statues. That means that you are able to then open up these other strategies. I don't think that's true in this case. I miss the old days when you always say, what the hell is this? Every time he encounters a new phobie. That will probably... I have, honestly, Honda, I've thought of that before. I don't think that will ever happen again because we're gonna see them all. I'm gonna have to do reviews for content stuff. Alright, so our hero here is TCT in the orange trunks. Somehow I win this one. Did we look at this game, chat? Have we looked at this game? Because this weird droney opener is feeling real familiar. This droney opener is feeling familiar, but I don't remember. But yeah, the good old days of being surprised by Phobies, probably, I mean, it almost literally can't happen now because I can't avoid looking at the Phobies. You know what I mean? It'll probably be the first time I see a Sir Probes a lot hit the board or something. Will be the next one. But somebody will probably show up in chat and be like, oh my god, did you know that Hoploy got whatever? You gotta go look at this game. And then that's what's gonna happen. We're now at the point where they can't release Phobies quickly enough for it to be a surprise, basically. And no, now that I'm looking at this, I don't think we saw this game, because we're getting a Fire Ant follow-up, Cyclops. I don't quite understand TCT going with the Gravedigger and not breaking this. I mean, I get the block here, and I guess based on Bad Guy's initial opener, there was plenty of time to get this set up. There's a leaked pic of Sir Probes a lot in game. Yeah, that was going around a little while ago in the Discord. A while back. I mean, we saw... Sir Probes a lot was in the trailer, and we've seen the avatar, so, like, seeing the in-game model, to me, isn't... Alright, we see the in-game model. I don't know, it's not that big of a deal to me. So Bad Guy's pretty aggressive about this, but ends up with a 4-to-1 panic point advantage. It's not going to change anytime soon, or at least not meaning... You can't kill this, can you? There's no way you can kill this. I get it. The thing is, I don't know. This seems a little weird. I kind of get it. Because you'll probably trade... I don't know, you might trade favorably as our hero here. When do I expect someone to hit stress level 130? I don't know. I'd have to know their paychecks. Because that's the way we're going to find out. Oh, baby. So Bad Guy is now at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0 panic point advantage. This is kind of what a lot of people think of when they think Phobos. So Cyclops does go down. It doesn't number on Stabby, but I have bad news for that Stabby. This is looking horrendous for our hero right now. Just from a damage perspective, like a tempo advantage, the board advantage is arguably in favor of our hero. They have more Phobies. They have quote-unquote better ones. But they're already at half heart health. Hero makes the right choice, getting some other 1 keys on the board so that way you can recap some of these points. You absolutely have to. Bad guy is banked to 10, though. Here's the thing. I wonder if bad guy let their foot off the gas, and that's the big issue here. Imagine if they had supplemented the forces that were already on the board with other phobies instead of banking. Where would they be? They also are deciding to go with Fish Tank. Oh, that's interesting to know, Onda. I didn't realize that. So is Hoploy, like, are they maxing out on everything every day? I don't know if they've said that. Gravedeer come down, chopping the Quagmire here. Panic points, finally, 3-2 going in favor of our hero. Stabilizing at this stage, but, of course, we're getting more traps. I don't really get this Fish Tank. The spider here obviously is very scary, including because of the Fish Tank. You can threaten a lot of stuff. But our hero has 16 keys remaining, now has a 4-1 panic point advantage. I don't know. Yeah, the heart's going to get punched, but honestly, if I'm our hero, maybe you just, like, let it, like, let him. Wait, what? All right, Stabby's getting it. Stabby is getting in position. Capping daily triple with sub every day, but no recharge for a long time. Interesting, okay. The jar positioning here was kind of bold. This is a lot of healing. And unfortunately, this Quagmire just soloed the stuff up here. So that board position kind of evaporated. That board position kind of evaporated, and all of a sudden it's looking favorable for bad guy once again. That being said, that's a lot of orange panic points. 54, oh my god, 2,400 health. There's no, like, is our hero really just gonna race? They're just gonna race. Maybe not? I mean, this is a ton of damage. Bad guy has to react to this and cap the panic points. Down goes an Oculus. Quagmire just slapping the snot out of that cat. I mean, honestly, bad guy doesn't... They've stabilized now. 36 to 24. That being said, bad guy is all the way up here. Fish Tank can't get on the heart, neither can Quagmire. I think they're just out of position. Wasn't the cat there from turn 1? Yeah, the cat basically went up here immediately. Bold to not send... I don't think they could have capped this point, and they were probably worried about taking the heart damage. But I kind of agree. They need... They have to race. There's no option here. It's just over. It's just over. I think bad guy lost here when they let up on the gas. They went double healers to keep Fire Ant alive. They probably didn't need to let the Fire Ant take 1 billion damage to begin with. This was very weird. This was super weird. Like, this turn... So, like, what do they do on this turn? They kill this. They cap these points and then pass. If they followed up with something this turn, instead, like a 4 key or a 3 and a 2 or something, like, spend your keys. Put something in here to supplement what you have on the board. Or, I don't think Fish Tank is your answer. When your opponent ends up with all 6 panic points on Phobos, you're in for a bad time. But yeah, I think bad guy needed to spend their keys, or spend them on something differently, or just go after the heart. Oof. I don't know. Well played, TCT. GG. Alright, our hero here is masterdarksh on Exponential Decay. First Exponential Decay game, question mark? First Sum of All Fears game, question mark? Okay, this game should be fun. Well, let's see how fun it is. Let's see how fun... Whoop, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's see how fun it is. You never built the grill? Oh, no, Luffy. Luffy. I was asking you if it was from IKEA, because those directions look terrible. Those directions look terrible. Although that's a much more intricate grill than I have. I have just, like, one of those simple egg-shaped looking ones. So bad guy here is going with a Gravedigger opener. Our hero's playing it a little safer. They do cap the center with the snowball. I can appreciate that. I'm a little surprised that they... So, one thing I'll disagree with masterdarksh here on is... If you send Snowball to center and Cowbell down here, you can then swing the Snowball here and, like, you could be up 3-1 instead of waiting. That's fair, Luffy. Fun fact, I was also sick during the first half of the fight. Oh, no. That doesn't sound good, masterdarksh. Well, hopefully you're feeling better. So bad guy answers with Ray Chargels, everyone's least favorite answer to Innocuous because it never seems to do a damn thing. Except for that one game where we saw it was going to get one shot. 888. Will not one-shot it. Ray Chargels has 2 levels on this Innocuous. Will not one-shot it. Just saying. Ray Chargels is a threat. Don't get me wrong. It matters. You want to eat Ray Chargels? What? Why? We're just getting the build-up of forces here. I'll take a slice of alligator. That gets weird because alligator regenerates, so, like... This goes to dark places. It feels like a sci-fi horror story. I've been... A lot of my YouTube suggestions and stuff lately have been, like, horror stories and stuff. I'd like to eat a clopster. I eat stingray, tastes good, already tell it. Yeah, I think you've brought that up before, Honda. We do have some very... Oh, no. masterdarksh, no. I mean, the Rambolina is probably dead if it goes in, right? This has to be bait, because I think the Rambolina dies. The only time Ray Chargels feels scary is when it's played by Hoploy. I kind of would agree with that. I used to eat snake often. Define often. Define often. Like, are we talking, like, once a week? I have to imagine each weekend. That seems like a lot. Yeah, once a week seems often. That would be often for any food, not just snake. Like if somebody asked me how often do you eat waffles, I would say often. I usually have waffles about once a week. Is this a dead ray? No, there's no way. Or is it? Not a dead ray. I do love the fetch. We were talking about fetch here the other night. We were talking about fetch on this map. Rambolina always feels like it's almost good enough. But I see a lot of failed Rambolinas. Not as in the particular move failed. But like, I can see what you're going for, but it doesn't ever work out. It is inching up here. Honestly, I feel that it would have been better if it swung back through the middle. Because it's going to have a hard time, like, forcing this boop in a meaningful way. Ray Charles being forced to retreat is my goal at this moment. I mean, that makes sense. Get the easy daisy kill. That guy's just getting clobbered here. That was actually pretty cool. I like this. This was actually really cool. You get the break here. Terraform is so good. Terraform is so good. Getting the fetch in position too, so now it's threatening a bunch of stuff. You not only get the kill on the daisy, but then you get the challenge play pull to back cap the panic point. That's actually pretty sweet. Eel tastes like what I'd imagine snake would taste like, but snake doesn't taste like that. Hurts my tiny brain. I don't know about anybody else, but I appreciate Gravedigger plays because it... Given that Phobies is perfect information, to a degree, I mean, you don't have perfect information about their collection, but, you know, if you're at the higher levels, you know what Phobies are possible, right? And obviously, the tricks that could happen, unless you're on top of their vault, are all on board, right? So, Gravedigger plays, to me, feel like as close as you can get to a surprise on board. Because for some reason, Gravedigger plays like... I feel like it messes with people's head more than most other things. $12 keys for our hero, 11 for bad guy. There's a flesh crawler, which I have to... This is just... This turn was annihilation. Toy break. We're not going to have time, Luffy. We're not going to have time. There isn't an easy way for me to disable the rewards. Well, actually, I think I saw somebody did a script where if I had a stream deck, I could do it. I could set up a script to disable some or all of the point redemptions at certain points. So that way I wouldn't have to, you know, tell everybody I can't do it. Chat, we actually get a sheep connection. The booper got bopped. Barzilla! No, Beauty can't target the statue. Neither can Blastomatic. So that going back to the earlier discussion, certain abilities can't target statues. Some abilities can't target statues, and among them are... Because you would think it's Beauty, oh, well, flyers can't hit statues. But that's not the case. Blastomatic can't hit line attacks either. Off of statues. Yep, get farted on. Boop. Ah! Jailed the flesh crawler. I want a giant undead T-Rex. And then that will be, by definition, my favorite phobie. Oh, baby. I mean, I think Bad Guy was kind of gave up a few turns ago, but this game is over. Big Undead Rex as a 9-drop would be cool. It would be awesome. It would be really awesome. Yeah, that flesh crawler got locked out. T-Rex will be melee? I imagine it would be. I imagine it would be. All right. So we're just watching the end of this one. Our hero, Master Dark, just kind of annihilated bad guy here. Thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. Got a little chompage going. Little chomp action going on. GG. Down goes bad guy. Master Dark takes it. Well done. Well done. That game, I don't know what was going on there. Bad guy made some very questionable decisions over the course of that game. All right, our hero here in the blue trunks is ManInYellow. Messing with your head there a little bit. Yeti Enjoyer. Wait, this is lights out. This must... When was this from? This map is still in the pool? I didn't realize this map was still in a pool. Because this game is from today. At least according to the spreadsheet. Is ManInYellow in here? In chat? I think I saw him earlier. Right? Oh, it was async. Okay, that's why. That makes sense. Makes more sense. Is Yeti and Rocket Man's cooldown 3? Yes. I think it's actually 3. So bad guy and our hero elected to go Gravediggers, kind of now circle back, as we've talked about on many occasions, into the status quo. Our hero's adding on to Inoculus thanks to that early bank due to the creep. A little creepy action. Taking down, removing threats from the board. Gonna take a pot shot probably from the jar, but that's fine. 33 turn game on this map? How? Now, I guess this map kind of stagnates sometimes. This has it, I don't know why, but I'm getting this weird, like, hourglass shape look from the map now. Are you seeing what I'm saying, chat? Like, this hourglass action going on here? So ManInYellow doing kind of what I typically do on a lot of maps, which is I was going to say a leapfroggy key strategy, but that doesn't quite elucidate what I'm talking about. But basically trying to bank, get those 4 keys so that you can get slightly more powerful things out. I don't like this map, to be honest. Yeah, this is one of my least favorite maps, personally. What's interesting is that this block got destroyed. That is very rare. That does not happen a lot on this map, unless there's, oh, I break it and then I can suddenly get through to kill something. Bad guy bank into 9. I imagine we're going to see a Hevo or something like that. A lot seem to dislike this map, including me. Yeah, I don't know too many people that enjoy this map. If Hakunay's still here, Hakunay's going to say, I love this map. Because Hakunay seems to just like to disagree with everybody. Not necessarily just for the sake of disagreeing, but more to tell everybody, hey, just get better. Yep. I told you. Hakunay, is there a map you do, or facet of the game that you do not like? Muffin obviously erases the creep. That's the way it always goes. That's the way it always goes. Both players absolutely hate all the obstacles on this map. And now we're going to get a turret standoff. 9 keys in total for our hero, 11 though for bad guy. So bad guy has the advantage of just pumping 1 keys to recap this point. And we get the replacement here. This makes sense, protecting the Inoculus from covering this point, at least from the position it's in. I don't really agree with sending the Inoculus all the way down here, but I guess it's fine. So bad guy still doesn't have an interest in recapping this point yet. But AWOL is going to be the phobia choice. I don't love this map, and I don't hate it either. For me, it's fine, like most maps. I put this on the lower end of maps that I enjoy. I don't think it's necessarily a problem with the map. I just think I don't like it. Which isn't a big deal. So are we going to continue the 1 keys? It appears we are. So we get a boomer. We get a boomer. I don't know why my phone keeps going off, chat. I hope the mic isn't picking it up. Well, I vehemently disagree with half of those statements, Hakunay, but that's, like, I think it's so we can, because we see a Hevo. I enjoy every map. Every map has ideas, and you try to go for them. Then everything depends on your choices. Your choices are poor. It's your problem. You don't have choices, then the game collection is the problem. A map on its own does nothing. That's incorrect. So the reason I say it's incorrect is the maps inherently force they encourage or discourage certain strategies, which I think everybody will recognize. And if that is the case, it is entirely possible for someone to like or dislike the way a game plays out. Like, some people like chess. Some people like poker. You can like chess and dislike poker, or like poker and dislike chess. But saying that the rules of the game, which is what the map is, does not impact the game is just untrue. I agree with your other sentiment that, yes, people need to accept their choices and accept how they're playing, but that is independent of the game, aka the map, the rules of the game, enforcing certain things. So bad guy here elected to go with a Hevo. Part of the reason why I paused, that way we could get that out. It changes the math on the 1 key trading war, but 8 keys remain for ManInYellow, so we'll see what the response is for Phobies, so they can pop something on the board immediately, but there's a lot of HP to chew through here, and we're actually getting some clustering. Yeti. I mean, Yeti Gaming was in the notes. Your free jack gave you 80 tiers, yay. Are you actually happy about that, DT? I legitimately don't pay attention to anything I get out of the jacks. Actually, I take that back. I got some coffee, like, right before the stream. I think DT's being sarcastic. I mean, maybe. I have no concept of what comes out of it. That's hardcore sarcasm. Okay. So we're down to 0 keys to 0 keys. Only 3 Phobies remaining for our hero here. Although I imagine this one's going to go down, so it'll be 4 to 3. But panic point advantage for bad guy. This is bold. So bad guy obviously doesn't want to get the Hevo frozen, but this is a significant poison. It's not going to kill the Yeti, but it is a consideration. So our hero's now on a clock. They have to, I mean, they're going to get these panic points, but for this Yeti to actually get value, you're going to have to be very cautious about it. Even a plane map forces stuff, I don't see an issue with that. It's not an issue. I'm not saying it is, but I don't think it's... So where I guess to clarify where I disagree is I think it is acceptable, and I may be inferring something that you're not saying, Hakunay, so correct me if that's the case. I think it is acceptable for somebody to say that they don't like a given map. And yes, there is an element of get good, depending on why they don't like it. But there's also an element of you just don't like how that... So, for example, like, let's say you really, really enjoy super duper long, methodical, strategic games. You can have aggressive games that end quickly, given a certain map configuration. Or you could have games that drag out because the way the map forces it. In those scenarios, if you want the long controlling game, you're probably going to dislike the quick games, and vice versa. And that's fine. It's okay to like or dislike one or the other. But that doesn't mean that the map didn't change anything, and that's where I have a disagreement with your initial statement that maps don't impact stuff. And when we're talking about something as subjective as I like this, not necessarily me, but in general, like, people just like what they like. If you like Phobies but don't like shooters, or you like RPGs but you don't like 4X games, you know, those are just different things. My tier total is 177,174 now, and I haven't even capped yet today. Wow. So back to the game, we're going to get a snipe. Nope, we're not going to, well, we are going to get the takedown here. So all of a sudden, it's Hevo who has to avoid this. Granted, it's a fairly healthy Hevo, but he will not survive being frozen. Oh no, it walked on the trap! The bait! The bait! How mad is bad guy right now? How mad is bad guy right now? Just cast the lure out there. Set the trap. Reeled him in. Got him. Got him. Well played. Well played. GG. That was actually pretty cool. All right. So, our hero here is Sivadas. Coming back at you. In this corner, we have a good guy, Sivadas, sponsoring the Twins for a comeback tour. In the other corner, we have opponent sponsoring Fetch. Play fair and no shots to the groin unless the judges aren't looking. Sounds like some real WWE action to me. I actually took some... This is another toy thing. He's over there, so I can't show you, but I took some pictures of Sergeant Slaughter earlier today. Got him going. Getting a little elbow drop action on a Cobra bat. I actually like the picture, other than my Photoshop skills are kind of bad, but, you know. So, standard opener to me, other than this Gravedigger for bad guy. Our hero responds similarly to how I would have responded. You get your snowball going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's as far as you could get. I do kind of like this with the cross cap instead of, like, screwing around trading fireballs. Just stem the bleeding right now. Also, opening this up means that you can just get there and start trying to cap this point down here. The lack of the poison here is interesting. I mean, I get it. Alright, so bad guy's on full retreat here. And they're not interested in coming in and losing the creep, I guess. So I have to wonder if Sivadas is going to the school of DT for this map, because DT was bringing up some interesting strategies. Well, it didn't... I don't think DT mentioned anything in particular, but I had talked about how I typically go for Crushmore and Honeybear on this map. But we're seeing Gravedigger, no Honeybear yet from Sivadas, so I wonder if this more aligns with what other people utilize on this map. This might sting a little, feels like Beauty Home to me. I don't see Beauty too much on that map, but we did see one where it ended up bombing like 4 things in a row off of the stim. So we do get the fireball trades between the snowballs here, it would appear. Panic point advantage, bad guy, 3-1. This just seems lazy, my bad guy. Well, maybe not. The reason maybe not is because the combination of creep and Hevo can still kill this. Unless we get a body block here from the cat or something, we're not going to. Like, these two should end up trading for the jar. But you still come out ahead as Sivadas, so ultimately, like, this positioning here was a mistake. Is this just a dead unicorn? Normally, I would say this is, like, this game is crazy off-meta by your experience. I mean, it's getting weird. So the phobies that are showing up don't feel that out of place. I mean, a little bit. The creeps, the gravediggers are a little weird. Everything else seems... Well, the fetch is totally out of there. Like, that's really strange, but... Bad Guy seems to just be throwing phobies away left and right for no real gain. This almost feels like an aggressive invade, but it's not really. Timeout. Couldn't Bad Guy have killed this? They have one more key. Send out a 1-key, kill the cat, move the fetch up. The fetch kills Daisy, and then cat kills Daisy, right? Am I missing something? Well, they can do it with a 1-key now anyway. Are they not going to do it? Why did they let Daisy live? Am I missing something? Were there max phobies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, they only had 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I missed the Hevo. Okay, that makes sense. Never mind. But even then, they should have... Could they? No, then they couldn't have done it. Never mind, yeah. Max phobies definitely carries it then. Never mind. $6,100 to... I mean... Overall, it just feels like Sivadas is just controlling this game. I mean, they're going to get the Daisy here, so... I don't think erratic is what you want. Trouble is what you want. No. Trouble is all Bad Guy has right now. Seven keys remaining for our hero. 5 for Bad Guy. Down goes Fetch. We'll get an erratic connection here. But the Jin Sting's going to have to move in order to facilitate it, so less damage is getting output. And then Quagmire. Last phobie for Bad Guy. You guys think the Speed Bros might be good here? So, Sivadas, I mean, as evidenced by the notes, has made strides with the Speed Bros before, and it was on this tile set. Was it on this Might Sting a little? Yeah, I don't know what the statue's for. Like... Sure. This is one of the maps where I want to try double Speedola opener going second because once I get them leveled. I think they're bad for mid-game. Do you feel they get better for late game? Or do you think once they drop off, they drop off? So Panic Point advantage finally in favor of our hero. But yeah, I could see both Speedolas being, if you get the pairing up, being bullies early game on a big map like this. Because they're highly mobile. they're tanky, and they push a decent amount of damage. So even if they are split, they could recollapse on something and beat the crap out of it. I think Sivadas took this game simply because bad guy hemorrhaged a bunch of keys and lost a lot of board position over the course of the early mid-game to into the late game. What do the Robot Bros do? So they are a pairing system, kind of like Jill and Ted. So Red Speedola is a little tankier. I don't think it has more damage, but it might. I mean, they're not the same level. But then they get +1 movement and a damage bonus when both of them are on the board. Granted, it's 11 keys, but they are... I mean, we were joking about it. They look... To me, they're the Bushwhackers. So at this point, Sivadas' whole game plan is probably just going to revolve around, I mean, A, controlling the panic points, but B, picking off everything that isn't erratic and then going, stop me. Because I'm fairly certain that bad guy cannot. Because now it's a 5-0 panic point advantage. All of these can collapse on the heart. Bad guy's going to have to put in some serious effort to do something. Blue has more damage? What do you mean? Oh, the Speedolas? Yes. But yeah, I said it earlier. I don't think bad guy... This is one of those games that the game was decided 12 turns ago. Like, the jar loss early on, I don't think needed to happen. And that really kind of set things in motion where bad guy was playing off the back foot for a number of turns. Review finished? Almost. The blue is lucky, the red one's fast. I mean, that's how it works in other games from what I've heard. The word on the street. Down goes bad guy. Well played, Sivadas. Well played. All right, take two. We're still on Urgo. Still with Hakunay, but this time with the right opponent. So we are starting with a snowball opener. I doubt that either player is going to walk into the obvious advance, get fireballed, and then get fireballed back. What will Hakunay teach us? We're going to learn today. How to blunder? Wait, Hakunay's teaching us how to blunder, or bad guy's teaching us? You know what's funny is, I think Hakunay was the one who pointed out that in chess terminology, blunder is the common term for, hey, I messed up. Or the other person messed up. And now that it's been pointed out, I hear it everywhere all the time. But I don't feel that that was a word that I commonly heard prior to this. Like, I knew the word, but it's not something that was used in common parlance for me. And now it feels like I hear it and see it everywhere. Henrietta free kill, yep. Okay, so here we go. Henrietta free kill. I like free kills, makes your opponent more confident of what they're doing. Trying to give them false confidence? Is that the plan, Big She? It's like noticing how many people drive the same car as you. Kinda, Doc, yeah. You'll enjoy the next free kill? Uh-oh. I mean, not like you weren't here to begin with. But now you're officially part of the lunatic circus. So Hakunay doing the demolition crew plan, just disabling the entire board over here. Bees! Wait, is this Stabby dead? Oh no, not like this. No, not like this! Oh no! Oh no. No! And now enjoy? Uh-oh. So is this all like... Are we setting the stage where Hakunay was just like... record scratch. You might be wondering how I got into this situation, and it's all just... He's hustling. Hakunay was hustling us the whole time. I can win with a handicap of 4 keys. I, honest to God, didn't look at who won the game when we zoned in, so I don't actually know who wins this game, chat. I'm being serious right now. I genuinely did those mistakes. Fair. The bad guy's getting a little aggressive. 6 keys here, but 10 bank for Hakunay. I imagine Hakunay is just going to dump a Hevo on the board, right? To be honest, if I killed Stabby with fire for free, I'd lose happily. Fair. Yeah, I imagine there's a Hevo 3.0 in our future. See, the thing is yes, that snowball died. It probably didn't need to die. Bad guy was likely being overconfident. But the snowball got its value, right? It's really only a 1 key difference, so I guess maybe this just evens it out. Boss as the answer. Bad guy, that jar is not safe if Hakunay wants it. I thought you were a top player. Only the top players have boss. Clinico, 1 key apiece remaining. And the panic point advantage is in Luffy's favor. If I was the bad guy, Sparky would come out. A lot of people try and answer Hevo with Sparky. It doesn't work out as well as you might think a lot of the time. Wait, what level is this? Oh, they did You're Fired. That's bold. I kind of get it. I kind of get it. I don't know why, but this looks weird to me. Where it's like, here's the boss, you're fired, and then it's like leaking into this. And I love Gravedigger just screaming at the top of the screen. Just like losing his mind up here. Interesting block here. It does protect the heart, obviously. You know, from something being positioned here. And it's not necessarily a space that you're going to occupy, but it does cut off your own ability to slide up to the stem. He's not screaming, he's laughing. See, I picture Gravedigger as a headbanger, so I want him to be, like, listening to speed metal or something. Boldly pushing the Bowmangles forward. That break is so unnecessary. But I guess you don't want to put more obstacles on the board because then it just assists the Hevo. More obstacles, obstacles better benefit Hevo than you at this moment, I would believe. As the bad guy. Bomangles is like, forget this, I'm out. So Hakunay does have a key advantage as far as panic points go, because the one key that comes out that's going to have to recap this, depending on the scenario, means that Hakunay can reclaim it, but then this happens. Pretty close on heart. Pretty close on heart, so we're not, like, seeing anything too drastic. Isn't your fired up? I mean, at this stage, chip damage favors Hakunay. Because of the Clinico, you can heal off more damage than your opponent is necessarily going to be able to, because they have to go back to the spa, but you have two options. I'm curious how Fever loses this game. Yeah, if Fever loses this, it feels like they're in an advantageous position. As I was saying earlier, at this point, Hakunay is going to have to commit in... Well, I was describing it as Hakunay at the advantage, but because Bad Guy was able to recap the top point with Boss, now that means that Hakunay has to recap either in the same fashion, like this, or risk losing the one-key trading war, essentially. That clown is just being a clown. Yeah, Fever on the full retreat here. Good play. Good play. When you play Hevo, you're always looking for this kind of thing. Getting a bunch of free damage on this boss. I feel like you kind of have to go for it here. I assume that Fever can't kill the Hevo, or they would have gone for it. Yeah, that's 2k health. There was just basically no way. But this can't possibly be the configuration you want to be in right now. This feels like you're inviting disaster. That being said, I think Hakunay's correct to leave, because even if you kill something here, they retaliate with a bunch of damage, and then an AWOL pops out, and you probably lose the Hevo. It was a trap? Yeah. But I wonder... No, because if you were here, then you get the stim bonus. You might have been safe going here, but I'd have to count the damage. I don't feel like doing that. You counted? Alright. I will trust your basic arithmetic skills. Is this a dead gravedigger? Oh no, bad guy. Oh no, that was with the damage. Okay, never mind. I must have clicked on it in that weird moment. So we're closing in on the end. We finally force Bad Guy to have an open slot in order to actually use their final key. Hevo is basically full health, so while it will get pelted here, it's not going to die. And then bad guy is going to lose a bunch of stuff on retaliation. But it looks like they're going to go for it anyway. This is a very patient game. This is a very patient game. So what do you think, chat? Because we're starting to see where this is going. I mean, chat probably was paying more attention than I was when we zoned into the game and already knew who was going to win. But where did Fever go wrong? They had that big retreat 6 or 7 turns ago up here that probably was overdoing it. They had the snowball loss, which arguably evens out with the stabby loss. They played so passive mid-game against a Clinico. Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid... It's absolutely valid. Oh, no. Not quite enough damage. Kill that Evo. But yeah, this Clinico has gotten a lot of value. For obvious reasons. Well done, Hakunay. Despite the early losses. Patience and math? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the out, right? Because the early mistakes meant that you were down board position, so you had to give your opponent the opportunity to make a mistake. And just like that, got him. GG. GG. Well played. In the end, both boss and 3.0 didn't die. I mean, they were, of course, the cornerstones for both players, so it makes sense. Makes sense that they put in that much effort. All right, we have Urk as our hero. Once again, a funny game that I should have lost. It was a heart race all the time. It always has been. We need that astronaut meme. Urk leading off with the stabby opener. We haven't seen that in a while. We haven't seen that in a while. And honestly, speaking of boss, but somebody had pointed out boss as a stabby breaker, and I kind of agree with that. Gonna AFK for a bit. If you're done when I get back here, have a good night. You too, Luffy. I appreciate it. I don't know what Gift Leader 2 means. Like, does that mean Luffy is the second place Gift Leader? I'm not sure. So bad guy jumps out to an early panic point advantage, getting the Venus going, which is a little odd for this map. You don't typically see that, but I can respect it. Pretty tanky. The traps are significant. And in this case, it absolutely matters because this bachelor will just die to the trap. Luffy is, in fact, the #1 gifter. It is facts. It is known. I'm pretty sure I accidentally throw away my Jin Sting in this game. All right, we'll see. We get a Kerbloom. Onda's ears are perking up. Onda hears the call. Urk astutely takes the bottom panic point. So we get a little Bluelian to prevent the fire damage here, or rectify some of the fire damage. Bad guy, I guess, forgot that the murder wing will still get pulled forward. I feel like we had longer than average games tonight, chat. I don't know. Bad guy's maxed out, but of course they can always pull the good old Hakunay trick. Is it the Hakunay Gambit? Is that what we're gonna call it, where you pop your boom or whatever in order to free up space? I don't know if Gambit really applies. It doesn't feel appropriate. We're just eating up the 1-drops here. Eating up traps as well. This is probably a dead Jin Sting. Bad guy had to feel good about this one. Boom, baby. Kerbloom, baby. Got him. I'm going to try to bring a actually real good game facing Mildred counters. All right, Big Chi. I will have to next week, probably. Let me see. Yeah, next weekend is the last weekend in February. There is one more weekend. There's that. There's 2 weekends between now and... Whoa, hold on. There's 2 weekends between now and the 1-year anniversary. And again, I don't know if we're doing any... The devs are doing anything. I don't... I'm part of the content affiliate program, but they haven't told me anything. They haven't announced anything. So, point is we have to assume there's some kind of patch, right? And if that's the case, I got to make sure that I get through as many gameplay reviews as I can next weekend, so that way they don't break. Note to future me. But anyway, we do get a dozer. This dozer was out of desperation. I basically gave up at that point, which ironically enough spelled my victory. We get a... Chat. What is happening right now? Why are there 2 dozers? Alright, masterdarksh, thanks for hanging out. So yeah, dozers squaring off, but one of them has a Boolean, which actually is hilarious. Because that should effectively make the dozer immortal. That being said, there's a lot of traps here. Well, a couple of traps. 2 keys remaining for each player. A 1 key available for each. Oh my god, this is actually cute. This is actually pretty cute. Level 6 versus level 8. Look at these dozers. This is going to be... This is going to be the thumbnail, chat. This is going to be the thumbnail. Like, it has to be, right? Look at these dozers. Just look at this. This is, I don't even know what to say to this, chat. What is happening? What? This is exactly, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. That's what we're looking at. What in the world? What in the world? This is insane. We're both locked in here with each other except I have a spa. I'm also 2 levels higher. I mean, you can tell this is half health. This is almost full health. This is not ending well for bad guy. Peak Phobies, chat. Peak Phobies. Although, I think the dimensional pull overrides this, for what that's worth. I don't know if it really matters, because you probably want Chuckles to stay on the spa, but... Plus, I think you want to pin... if you're Urk, I think you want to continue to pin their Dozer, because you're coming out ahead here. Oh, you don't even need to. You just kill it this turn. Down goes Dozer. I encourage them to spawn a Dozer after they got my Jin Sting for free. If they played safer, they probably win. I agree. That being said, I mean, Dozer is big and chunky, so, like... I don't, like... Going toe-to-toe with your own Dozer that is inherently weaker due to levels just doesn't make sense. Especially with the Bluelian in play. But realistically, this Dozer kind of did take over the game. They had 11 keys, so there's a lot of things they could have hypothetically done, but... It'll be funny if Dozer is meta on this map. Is this map still in the pool? Because if it is, I want to try and spawn Dozer the next time I'm on it. I'm going to have to make a note. Map's gone. Womp wah. I'll make a note for the next time. I love the way Tickles moves. Tickles is super amusing to me. Well done, Urk. Well done. I don't know if there's really anything else to say for this. A little BM healing spa action. Dozer trundling. Rumbling. Tickles is cute. Along with a Vendy plushie, I think Tickles should get a plushie, but you know it's just going to be Razor Mouth if it were to happen. GG. GG. You want a plushie, Tickles? I think they should make Phobie plushies. It would be funny if I pulled out my own Dozer too. Loses because of it. Exactly. So Sivadas is our hero here on Magnificent. The MVPs of this match look cool as fuck facing off against each other. Props to opponent because they often do some wacky stuff during our mini games, making them fun opponent. GG. It is cool learning tendencies for players. Or, in this case, it sounds like there's a variety of things that show up. So bad guy here is very interesting opener, includes a sucky. I don't know that I hate it. Like, this seems okay. We do get a Gravedigger break down here. The standard. I think, honestly, Sivadas should have gone for this. I guess it depends on... 9... Oh, wow. This is over... Never mind. This is a high enough level Murder Wing. This is a level 16 Murder Wing. It would have gotten a meatball, then you try and retreat, it chases and kills you, so it wouldn't have been worth it. And then Baba Yaga. Huh. This is interesting because I feel like the cassowary's dead because of the sucky, but I guess you come out keep positive in this exchange. Because, well, yeah, you should kill the sucky. Oh, they're not going to go for it anyway. They're going to go for the cat. Sure. Alright, so I imagine there's a trap somewhere. I'm just not sure where. Because I could see not putting it on the panic point here. Leap is still live, so the Sucky just dies for quote-unquote freezies, I think. The Ginsting is still susceptible to the sheep, and now so is the Gravedigger? Like, I don't know about this Gravedigger positioning giving them more sheep value. I guess they want this more. That's fine. So I mentioned it earlier on a different Magnificent game. I commonly end up with Honeybear doing this. That way you can stage, like, Innocuous or something in a position that it can threaten way more stuff. Honestly, it just feels like Sivadas is picking bad guy apart here. Ray Chargels. I mean, the Ray is mobile. That still seems a little weird, though. The bad guy's on the retreat because, I mean, they're just going to throw good Phobies after bad. And we get a Russell. Not really a great spot for Russell here. I don't know if Sivadas has a blue land. Definitely have a Muffin, though. Ray is the body block for Gravedigger. I guess. But the poison that comes out... Because I don't think the explosion was live. Actually, it probably was. I was thinking it wasn't, and then... I mean, yes, this poison would eventually kill the Gravedigger. I don't know how much more value the Gravedigger has, so I feel like inviting it in, the sheep, and then just getting it off the board, even at the expense of Gravedigger, would probably be worth it, but maybe not. But either way, we are going to land with a poison onto the Gravedigger as well as everything else, thanks to the Caw. So how does Sivadas answer this? Because that... We've obviously talked about Russell a lot. Zamboni! And this looks amazing, chat. Like the way that... So for those of you that are unfamiliar, we do have an AoE healer here. Zemergency. So they have to be adjacent to the target, not adjacent to Zamboni, but clearly you can position however you need to. Leshy if it wasn't garbage. I don't think Leshy... Well, I mean, Leshy is bad, but... I think it gets beat up more than it needs to. This is cute. The mud here. You get a little Zamboni action. I imagine this is a dead Russell. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attacks. Plus whatever comes out of spawn. 8 keys remaining to 11. Panic point advantage is in favor of bad guy, and they also allowed Boom to connect with Jar. Ouch. Zamboni is actually good against Noxious. Yes. I feel like Blulian does most of what I want most of the time. There are scenarios where Zamboni's better. So I think it's fine. But most of the time I feel like I would rather just have Blulian. Do we get a Cerberus? I think in this case it's the universal sign of, alright, this game is over. Still 7 keys for Sivadas, by the way. And Oopsie Baby is where those 7 keys get invested. 5-0 panic point advantage. It won't be that for much longer, but I don't think bad guys are going to be in this game much longer. Blue Leon's also dimensional. Like, Zamboni is supposed to provide long-term value because it's, oh, I'm sacrificing my HP, but then you can just heal it back. But realistically, people are going to go all in on it and snipe it. Blue Leon has significant damage. It is more mobile because it has Burrow. It can pump out probably more healing. It's more burst from Zamboni, but if you have more time, it's going to produce more healing. And it's dimensional, so it represents damage and a displacement. It just offers too much, and for less keys. Zamboni, I think, like in this scenario, this was a great Zamboni thing. It would have been slightly worse with Blue Leon, because Blue Leon would have ended up taking a little bit longer to try and get rid of everything. Just because you have to sit there micromanaging the spas and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Zamboni just got out there, got everything healed pretty quick, and healed up basically 2 healing spas worth. So I think this was a good showcase of Zamboni, because I know there's a lot of people that are very down on Zamboni, but... Completely unnecessary vomit here. But I mean, it's a 3 to... I mean, it wasn't completely unnecessary. It does have value, but it's just funny. GG. Well played, Sivadas. You get a little Zamboni action. You don't see that. You think Blue Leon is better for big or small maps? I feel like it's better for big maps, 5 keys on a small map for a healer that doesn't get to attack often, doesn't seem great. It's probably better on big maps, but I think it's still fine for small maps. I wouldn't say it's bad for small maps. Because you could still park, say, a stabby on the big house or something like that, put a spa under it and say, all right, come get me. And then it's tanky enough that it could go in, cap a point, get back out, and then end up on its own healing spa or something. I think there's still value. So we're just going to close up shop. Like I said, it'll be variety night tomorrow, but I appreciate everybody that came out. Definitely a lot of fun. Definitely some cool games. And all good things must come to an end, chat. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.